lounging, son.
Welcome back to another episode of the Comic Lounge podcast. My name's Ryan, and as always, my co-host Dylan. And today's a special episode. So, not only did we pick a book to read, which is very fitting because our friendship started with hip hop and comics, and this is a comic about hip hop. But this is also week 52, which means we've been doing this podcast for a year. Now, there's a lot of other content on the channel. We've done other episodes, so this is not episode 52. This is, I'm labeling it episode 52, but there's a lot of other content. This is just week 52, a year, and it's crazy to think that we've been doing this that long. It's insane, dude. It really is. I started the website over 2 years ago, and I reached out to you almost immediately. I was like, dude, come be a part of the site. We wrote a lot of reviews. We've done articles, interviews on the site, and then the pandemic happened, and I'm like, I told you, I was like, dude, because we had been talking about starting a podcast. I was like, dude, let's fucking just do it. We got the time at home. We're not. Well, you were still working. But I was fucking bored at home, and I'm like, let's get this done, dude. And I'm so happy we fucking did it. It has been a blast. It's a blast fucking getting to hang with you every single week because we don't get to see each other except here sometimes. Right. But dude, it's who else would I fucking have done this with? And I love talking comic books with you. It's
dog. It's fun. It's been a crazy year. With the wildness of 2020. It's crazy to think that within a year's time, you in particular, did all this. It's crazy. It's crazy. Just think about everything all the content that the YouTube channel has had over the past year. Not just not just the podcast. The podcast is fantastic. I love it. It's one of the best parts of my week. But in a year's time, it's crazy. It's crazy how far we've gotten and how much we've read and how much we've done. We smashed Fables in a year. We freaking read some of the most epic and most classic freaking trade paperbacks out there. We do our weekly reviews where we spread the love. It's been a hell of a year, dude.
Yeah, dude. It's I didn't think that. I never thought that we wouldn't get to a year, but
But you don't think about it during week one.
Yeah, no hiccups. We constantly, and even when I told you just take a month off because we were still doing the weekly reads, but I was like, just take a break from reading graphic novels, especially after Fables, because that was an epic thing, But we have Jen always, she does the Thought Balloon episodes with me. She's guested with us. She's stepped in to read some with me when you were taking a break, and just it's been a long, tiring year for me, because I have tried, I have put out so much other content, but and I've told you this, this is the most fun I have is talking comic books with you. It's the interviews are cool. Don't get me wrong. I love talking to the indie cartoonists. I love talking to people like Jason Aaron and Scott Snyder, but it's this is what I started the channel for. This is what I started the website for. It never started as I want to do this because I want to talk to creators. No, I want to talk comic books. I want to share the love. I want to share the passion for this medium that I love so much. And everybody, that has been following along with us, whether some videos don't have a lot of views, some don't have a lot of downloads. We do these also for audio. So it's the numbers kind of are both places. But what?
It's funny because yesterday, it was almost 10 o'clock, and you know how it is when it's closing. Everyone's just everywhere, right? So I'm passing by the dish pit, and one of the servers is coming out of the dish pit, and he's like, "Hey, dog, I put your podcast on yesterday. Good shit." I'm like, "What? Fucking Kevin? Bro, you don't fucking read comic books?" "Nah, but I love that Marvel shit, dog. Just go ahead, keep fucking doing it." And freaking his mom works with this too. His mom is one of the head dish runners, and she's like, "Hey, I know him." I was like, "Oh yeah, we work with him." I was like, "Oh shit." It's just such a trip to find out who tunes in every now and then,
Yeah,
so
I had a
thank you guys for this whole year of it.
Oh yeah, dude. I had a customer come in. He's like, "You're Comic Lounge, right?" At the shop, and I was like, "Yeah." And I I was like, oh, you saw my post? Because like I posted about the image grade design, and he's like, yeah. And like I get a lot of people telling me, oh man, I love this shit. Like I had one customer that he listens like almost every week. Like not every episode because we put out. There's so many other stuff.
Right.
I mean, I post 5 things a day or 5 things a week, so it's hard for people to catch up. But it's always cool to get that feedback from people that are not family, are not like personal friends. You know what I mean? So it's nice to hear that feedback and to see that people dig what we do, even if it's not a ton of people. Because I mean, if you look in the large scheme of things, like there's people with thousands of subscribers, but you know, I appreciate every single person that listens to this. You know, throws their comments down, below, or gives us feedback.
Crazy. It's crazy to think that there's 500 people that like care about what we think.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I mean, and the numbers have jumped up a little bit. I think it's at like 540 something right now. I don't know. That's
crazy. That's so crazy to me. It's such a small number in the grand scheme of things. You're right, but it's like these first 500, bro. Thank you guys.
Yeah, Thank you man. Guys. Yeah, and I mean, again, like I'm sure that I could have done stuff that maybe would have got more subscribers, but I will not drop content that I don't believe in. It's not
the principalities.
Yeah, I mean, I just won't do videos that feed the speculators. I'll make videos that talk shit about them, but I won't make videos that are like, oh, this is the key vote to get this week. Like I can't bring myself to do it. So that's why I feel like the subscribers that we have and the followers that we have are quality. Because they care about the quality content. They don't care about like, oh, what book's gonna make me a fucking millionaire,
Yeah.
So
and for like a whole year worth of content, like I'm glad that we stayed in the positive note. We didn't. There was very little. There was no bashing at all. Like if we didn't like a comic, we didn't like a comic, but we weren't like openly bashing something, and with as negative as we can be, like in our personal lives, as negative as we can be in our personal lives, we never spread that negativity. It's always been positivity from us, and it's been a wonderful thing, man. And thank you guys for coming along with us.
Yeah, dude. And if I had any negativity, I just edited it out. I just deleted it because I know that there was some times where I was like, ooh, I gotta get rid of that. As I was editing, I'm like, that's too much, Ryan. That's too much. People don't want to hear that. So but speaking of positivity, let's talk about Hip Hop Family Tree, Book 1 by the great Ed Piskor himself. A
lot of Ed Piskor this week.
Yeah, you know him from Cartoonist Kayfabe with Jim Rugg. You know him from his X-Men Grand Design as well. Red Room dropped this week as of the when we're recording this. I know how I feel. This is my second read, so I'm gonna let you talk about it. I'm gonna let you fucking go ahead. Go for it.
Throughout this whole entire book, I was smiling. Right. So the hip hop I know, the hip hop that I started with was Run DMC and Rakim and Eric B and Kool Moe Dee, Wild Wild West, the Wild Wild West, that shit. So like, by this time I was maybe about like 6 or 7, so I was like 92, right? So that was just like as NWA was kind of like breaking up, and like Ice Cube was kind of doing his own thing, and Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, and that whole G-Funk era, like the whole West Coast movement. We were living in the West Coast. We were in LA. So I was living in Hollywood. I was literally I used to live right across the street from Paramount Studios, and shit was cracking all the time, right? So that was my experience with hip hop. So what I liked about this gives me the glimpse and the structure of timeline of everything before the stuff that I listened to, right? So we have Grandmaster Flash, we have DJ Kool Herc, we have freaking Kool Moe Dee, we have Busy P, Lovebug Starsky, like all these names that I've always heard and I always associated with being like some of the greats. Like now I get to experience their story, right? And it's crazy. It was literally a movement. It was literally a movement, and everything just worked out for hip hop within that short period of time. Because when did it start? In the mid 1970s. That's what they're just saying for DJ Kool Herc parties. So like let's just say 75, right? there's this whole period of time, the whole 16 years of hip hop that I had very little knowledge of until 1992. It's funny. Comics 1992 for me, hip hop 1992 for me. They kind of coincide. I love that. But anyway,
Yeah,
right.
good year,
But
good year.
yeah, no. And then it gives us everything. It tells us about the Grand Wizard, about Africa Bombata, about like, you know, what I like in the first beginning pages is like how there are always crews, how it was kind of like there was a gang mentality to it, right?
Yeah,
And then later you come to find out that a lot of the promoters in the hip hop back then were using gangs as security, which was like that's dope. Like they're literally entrepreneurs. They're literally all the money within the community, right?
mm-hmm.
There's a sense of like the whole it was something that the whole hood knew about, that the whole neighborhood knew about, right?
Yeah,
That was
yeah, yeah.
just theirs. It was their special little secret, and nothing can ever take that away from it. You know, I mean, now it's gone commercialized and everything is cookie cutter, cut out, freaking mass produced music to make as much money as they can as fast as they can. Whereas this was just like, yo, the MC is the MC and he's the baddest MC out there. The DJ can't nobody hype up the DJ like this DJ can, right? You know, graffiti artists like this is also during the wave of the crazy 1980s graffiti craze. We're talking about
Well,
Keith Haring and you know all that, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So it was literally like all these things happening at once within the boroughs of New York that was
Mm-hmm.
just world changing,
Yeah, I mean,
right?
it talks about the cult. It's the entire culture of what hip hop is. It's not just the music, it's the attitude, it's the graffiti, it's the breakdancing, it's
It's
the
fashion,
fashion,
is
it's everything, dude. And the cool thing about it, and Piskor reiterates it, is that anybody could do it.
mm-hmm,
Anybody could be an MC.
mm-hmm.
And but at the same time, like the DJ is really prevalent here as opposed to now, which it's not as much. Like when you think of DJ now, most people think of like,
DJ
yeah,
Khaled,
yeah, or
big
electronic music.
boss.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of people think electronic music, you're like, oh, like, all those kind of DJs and stuff. But uh I loved the way he depicted it. And I mean it's cool because like for us, two of our loves both originated in New York. Like they both came out of New York, and they came, and it was almost both of them were almost considered like for the lower class, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
cheaper forms of entertainment. Anybody could do hip hop. Comic books were cheap. Like you didn't need to be wealthy to do any of these things. And he really like, and when you check out the other books, you're gonna see it. Like it continues to just throughout the series just really inform you of the history and what was going on in the world around, like while this is happening, and watching like the Sugar Hill Gang records, right, come
Mm-hmm.
and come into it, and Russell
Shout out to
Simmons.
Deborah Harry.
Yeah, dude, fucking
Shout out to
Blondie.
Deborah Harry, bro.
It's crazy. Like I didn't know. I had heard that song when I was younger. I didn't realize like the importance of all that back then, like
Yeah,
so like to kind of learn stuff to where like Love Bug Starsky, right? Like the only reason I knew about him was
because of
because of
Biggie.
fucking Biggie. So I was like, so the first time I read this, I was like, oh, that's who the fuck he was talking about in the song. I'm like, I always wondered like who's he talking about, dude? I don't
Yeah.
have any clue.
But
So
then, like,
yeah,
but then you think about all the people we listen to, like even okay, let's say Nas, right?
yeah,
Nas was born in '73, so he was like literally a young boy when all this was happening, and then he was a dope boy in the '80s, and then like, you know, he gives so much homages to all those people, right? He talks about it all the time. Nas talks about how you watch Mickey D, aka Slick Rick, on the corner rapping, right?
yeah,
And to me, I'm sitting here like, yo, Slick Rick is a god, right?
yeah.
Friggin' Run DMC, gods. But then you think about them, they were kids when all this was happening because you see Run and you see Daryl,
They're
which
just
is
reading
so
comics.
funny. Yeah, just
They're
reading
just reading.
comics. They're little
Yeah,
kids, and they keep on telling Rush like, "Hey, put me on, put me on, put me on."
yeah, yeah.
I love
It's
it, dude.
just it's such a fun fucking book, dude. I
Yeah,
absolutely adore it, and it like only got better the second read because like I had discovered this kind of late, you know, like I had read it, I think right before the beginning of the pandemic. I told you I got book one, and I had been like really, I don't know what had taken me so long, because like Nick had mentioned it right when I started at the shop. So I had known about it for a few months, then finally decided to pick it up, and then I'm like, what? This is so fucking dope. And then got the other 3 books immediately, and
it's a really well informed book.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to say.
Right. Like, because when this isn't like a comic book where it tells you about the birth of hip hop through a fictional character. Everybody in this book essentially existed.
Yeah.
You know, and it's more so told like chronologically, but through everyone's perspective. It's not just like there's a main character, there's a hero. I mean, there are a couple fools, and I'm just sitting here like, damn. Like, this fool Ed Piskor is kind of like taking shots.
Yeah.
Like, he's like over here taking shots at Rick Rubin, and like.
I mean, but wait though. Okay. Like, you'll see where Rick. Like, I like this because I don't know Rick Rubin is some of my favorite fucking songs.
Yeah.
I mean, like, mainly from like, I think I really knew who he was. Like, maybe this is in high schools where I really researched like who is making the music, right? Like, I didn't when I was younger, I just listened to whatever songs I liked. It's kind of like comic books, right? Like when you were a kid, like I don't pay attention necessarily to the fucking writer and artist. You're like, oh, that looks dope, so I'm gonna buy that. Oh, that sounds dope, so I'm gonna buy that. I'm gonna listen to that. So,
hey, what was your first hip hop album
that I bought or that got bought for me?
A full like CD album that you ever purchased, like whether it be your mom's, because you know we were kids, we didn't have money. Yeah, what was your first album?
Dude, you don't know. I don't want to say.
But
it's not. It's it was Will Smith, dude. My mom bought me Will Smith when I was a kid. But
Millennium?
That wasn't my first, But that wasn't my first like hip hop that I listened to. The first one that I was younger than that. I was like, I think I was like 8 or 9, and I was listening to Tupac, and my mom was like, "What the fuck are you listening to?" You know. So she would never buy me that, but she would buy me Will Smith. You know what I mean?
No. My first experience with hip hop was actually my sister. My sister listened to like a lot of 80s and 90s R&B and a lot of hip hop. So every now and then, like, she'll like sing a line. But like the first like thing I saw was a Deep Cover with Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg.
Oh, nice.
It's just tight, dude.
I know.
But my first album didn't actually happen until years later, because we were fucking poor. Like I would steal my sister's music, right? But the first album I ever bought, so I picked up 2 albums at Warehouse Music. Remember Warehouse Music?
Oh my god!
I picked up 2 albums and brought it to my mom. And one was Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction, and the other was Bone Thugs and Harmony, East Eternal 1999. Right? I went up to my mom and I was like, I don't know which one to pick. And my mom looked at the Guns N' Roses album. Keep in mind, it's like Guns N' Roses, first off. And then there's like a statue. There's like a painted, like, Greek statue on it, right? And she's like, no, put this one back. If she only knew. No, she bought me Bone Thugs.
Yeah.
If she only knew what was in that Bone Thugs album.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
How different my life would have been. That's how I feel. Because I played that thing until it broke. Until it broke. It got stuck in a CD player, and the CD player never opened, and it was one of those 5-second shock ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that thing didn't make it very long. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah. I think that like. So yeah, my mom bought me Will Smith, but then I can't. It's hard for me to remember because I think I wasn't really buying CDs until the end of middle school. So like everybody, like a lot of people that I knew were like all into like, the new metal, like Korn and stuff like that. And at the time, I wasn't into that. I liked hip hop, and I didn't really like know a lot of people that liked hip hop. But it was like once I think it was because I moved around a lot. So like I was like more into comic books for like 6th through 8th grade, and then it was like 9th grade hit, and I fucking, dude, that's my money, like 50-50. Hip hop CDs and comics. That's all I fucking spent my money on.
Same.
You know what I mean? So my collection fucking grew, and I was getting the back catalog. I was going back. I was buying every fucking Tupac CD. I was buying every Eminem CD. I was buying like Bone Thugs. Like I have like everything. You know what I mean? Like I have not well, obviously not everything. Every Nas CD. It's just hip hop is just so important to me. Like in my development as a human being. You know what I mean? Like it's like within it's so deeply embedded. Like I love all kinds of music, but if you told me I could only have one CD, it would always be a hip hop CD. Now I can't tell you which CD I would pick off top right now, but it's hip hop. If it was only one genre of music I could have for the rest of my life and never have anything else, it's gonna be fucking hip hop. And I'm more hip hop CDs than anything else. And like then I just and it's cool because you can always discover new shit, and that's kind of what this book did. It's like now I can go back and discover old stuff that I didn't necessarily know because he has track listings in the back that coincide with what we're talking about in the book. And I was listening to like it's crazy that like my mom didn't fucking like yell at me for some of the shit I was listening to when I was younger because like. Bro. Listen to fucking Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre and fucking Eminem, like the shit that they're talking about, dude. Like it's fucking.
Dude, I used to like make little mixtapes, right, and play them in the car. And my mom's like 1992 Toyota Celica, right? Like I used to play the music, and she never really said anything, right? She never really said anything. The only time she would get mad is when there would be like sound bites of police sirens, and she'd be like, "No, I don't want you to play that song because it scares me. I think there's a cop around us."
Like sometimes, I'll tell you. Sometimes I put on a CD, like an old one, and I think I'm like, oh fuck, did I do something wrong? Like it trips me out now when I'm in the car because I have my music so loud that it really sounds like this siren is on my right or on my left. You know what I mean?
And the way they pan it through speakers, came over. But anyway,
yeah, I think that I can't say enough how much this book means to me as a hip hop head. I'm so glad that like you finally read it and that you dug it as much as you did because like it's such an maybe intimate isn't the right word, but it's such an honest look into the culture of hip hop, and he really covers all facets, and he continues to do that with each book. His art is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. You know, I love his depiction of Russell Simmons. I mean, it's funny.
It's funny. It's funny.
It is, and he's on cross-eyed the entire time, and like. Yeah. But I mean, like you see, like there's pictures, dude. A lot of the people that are in this book, DMC's seen holding this book. A lot of people that have that are in this book have read it and dig the book. Debbie Harry, I've seen her with a picture of this book in her hand.
If you look up Deborah Harry's name in the phone book, it'd be Harry Deborah.
Harry Deborah, you're so stupid. That's funny though. I did not think of that. But another aspect that I really love is that the paper that it's printed on, and how it looks like old school 4-color process. With that. But yeah, like I love that because it's not like there's not really a narrative necessarily because we jump back and forth between different people. Some people don't get a lot of shine. Like you just get like, oh, this person was doing this at this time, boom, done. And that takes place throughout the series. But I like Rick Rubin discovering hip hop because he is one of the best producers, but especially hip hop producers of all time. And to see like that's why like I want to continue to talk about this book, and we'll talk about the next book also because watching him and what he does. I mean, the Beastie Boys. You know what I mean? You're gonna see that. It's just. I love this book, dude. I mean, I don't really. I mean, I could go on and on and on, but
you know what I like. Every now and then you'll catch a glimpse of someone who is like someone huge, like Basquiat is in this, Samo is in this, and then like it'll cut to like, oh, here's a young hip hop fan in Los Angeles listening to Ring Ding Dong, like like all these little glimpses, especially with Run DMC. I love the Run DMC stuff because it's always just like you'll see DMC with like a comic
Yeah.
Like literally reading a comic all the time, right?
Yeah, I mean, Basquiat continues to be in here, and like I don't want to spoil it because I want to be able to talk about it when we cover these other books. But you continue to see a lot of the heavyweights as kids,
Yeah.
and like fuck it, I'll say it. KRS-One, he becomes like kind
Little
of
Kenny
like
Parker.
a
Little Kenny Parker, dude.
a continuous one in the series, and like watching his story. I mean, he's a
I
legend.
can't wait. I can't wait for the beef between Kumo D and KRS-One.
Oh, dude.
The bridge is over. The bridge is over.
Yeah, dude, it's
The bridge is over.
you have no idea. Over. You're gonna love because like this is the era that I knew the absolute least about was the beginning of hip hop, and that's why I was so excited to read it because, not only had I started learning about Ed Piskor and his work, and I'm like, oh, I want to check his stuff out because everybody talks about it, but like hip hop was the thing that sold me. Hip hop was the thing that got me to like finally like, no, I want to learn more. But it's like once I start seeing the people I know, and you start seeing the BC Boys, and you start seeing Run DMC, and you start seeing the beginnings of West Coast hip hop, because it doesn't, it ends at 85. You know what I mean? So you don't get even, you don't see all that 90s
so
stuff.
We're gonna so we're probably gonna get like, I mean, like DJ Quick, maybe. Who was West Coast in the earlies?
I don't know, but you see the birth of Dr. Dre when he's still wearing that surgeon outfit. Yeah. Like I was like, oh, I was like, I completely didn't even know about that aspect of Dr. Dre until I saw the book. So it's
thing.
This is an absolute special book, and I think that this is something that everybody can enjoy, even if you're not like a huge hip hop head. You gotta respect the fucking work that went into this book.
Yeah,
like, this
the work, the research, the detail, the art, the writing. There's a lot. This is a dense fucking book. It's only like 100. It's only like 112 pages, which, you know, you take a look at 112 pages in comic book form, and you're like, oh, it's easy. I can bang that out in a night. No, this took me like 4 nights.
And that's why I told you
so much. There's so much information.
I know.
So much information.
It's very text heavy. It's very like there's a lot of information to get across in so few pages, you know? So that's why like that's why I told you like to make sure you start this early, or else you're not going to be able to finish, because you don't want to rush through it either. And even though I had read it before, I'm like, I'm going to read it again. Like, I'm not going to just like try to remember what I read. Plus, like, it was just another excuse for me to pick this book up one more time. So, and again, Fantagraphics, dude. I've been saying it. One of the best publishers in the game. My favorite publisher right now, right up there with Image. I love Marvel and DC, but the stuff that that Fantagraphics puts out is unlike anything else. And the vast array of talent that they have under their in their company is just, it's phenomenal, dude. And you know, it's cool to see like how people like, you know what else I really loved was like the DJ aspect, right, of them spinning records. In Africa, Bambaataa would fucking take the fucking stickers off so nobody would know what he was mixing on the turntables, dude. Like, that was dope.
And then that's essentially how like the record selling craze started. Like, people would go, like all the DJs would go and try to get these break beats because he finally learned what they were. And then there was like an underground mixtape of like dope shit that record stores were selling. Like, what? Like, that's so crazy. It's like burned CDs. Remember when burned CDs were a thing? Like, you know, not everybody had a CD burner.
I have some, and I have some of your mixtapes that you made. I still have. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
dude.
I was listening to one the
tribal
other day.
Mixes, bro.
I was like, what the fuck is he doing? I was listening to it. I'm like, dude, what? There's fucking so many R&B, and then fucking it flows right into like this like hard hip hop. So I was like, dude, you know, like that was some of my favorite aspects of sitting in class. I was like always waiting for you to give me another mixtape because they were always dope. Yeah, always dope.
Dude, because like because like, you know, we went to school from the 2000 to 2004, right? So it's like that was like one of the that was like another golden era in hip hop where everything where it was everything. It was the mainstream music was good, the underground music was good, like collaborations were good. Everything was good.
Hell yeah, dude. I mean, fucking Stillmatic, the Black Album, the
Black
Blueprint.
Album.
I
Rick
mean,
Rubin is on the Black Album.
Eminem show,
Yeah.
like, yeah, I know Rick
Hey.
was on the Black Album. That's when I finally discovered like that dude because he was in the video.
With the
He was
with the mink coat. With the mink coat walking down.
Yeah.
It's the best ever, Rick Rubin. And he's like a super like yogi guru now. He's like such a trip, dude.
And it's so weird to see him start as this like little punk dude, come from a rich family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then makes his own way, and
Mm-hmm.
it's really dope. His story is really cool, and it was cool to see. It was cool that I could. There were still some people I knew in this book, even though they weren't who they eventually become. Yeah, dude,
but it's crazy because you see like Kool Moe Dee, right? Kool Moe Dee is like one of the very prominent people in this, and you see his evolution, right? And then all of a sudden at the end of the book, he's just like supreme, battle rapper, the most prominent battle rapper. Because battle rapper, I used to battle rap in high school. You know this. There's a certain bravado to it, right? There's a certain thing you hold with it, and seeing Kool Moe Dee, and then eventually the beef that follows.
Oh,
I can't wait.
Oh, I know. I mean, and then the birth of MTV is touched on briefly at the end. So like that also like the birth of music videos was completely. I mean, like I've watched the Rapture music video, and you're just like, damn, this shit is so like. It's old as fuck. I mean,
every time Deborah Harry shows up on a page, I hear Hearts of Glass in my head.
Yeah, I mean, and I was hearing music the entire time. Like I was reading this, and then the next few books, it's like he just like constant. It's like I'm reading, I'm smiling, and I'm hearing music, and he like the energy that Ed Piskor captures within these pages it's insane, dude. Like it's literally emanating with this energy. It's a testament to his writing, his research, his cartooning, because it's not always easy to convey that kind of an energy in a book when you're talking about. It's basically like a report of hip hop. You know what I mean? Like he's reporting on the history of hip hop. You know what I mean?
It's a comic book report on hip hop.
But it's so much more than that, and the way he makes sure to encapsulate every aspect of hip hop culture and not just the music, and like the in the hood, dude, like when people the lights went out and everybody's stealing all the fucking equipment, right? Because they're like, oh, we gotta get this, and then they pull out their guns. You ain't stealing my shit, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like there's that. I just love this book so much, dude. I feel like I'm just running in circles because like I'm gushing over how much I love it, but I love comic books so much, and I love hip hop so fucking much, and I'm so glad that something like this book exists for fellow hip hop / comic book heads, dude, because I wish there was more stuff like this, and that's why like I had told you, I'm like, we need to do a fucking hip hop zine, and I think we should fucking do a bootleg hip hop family tree where we talk about 90s. I think we should fucking create that as well. Hip Hop Family Tree Book 5, the bootleg version.
Yeah.
90s.
Bootleg. I'm actually kind of with it.
Yeah, I mean, think about how much is not.
And do it in the 6-panel structure.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
We could do that. We could do it.
Yeah.
The 90s were crazy because
Dude,
that's when like
you got Tupac, you got fucking all the West Coast fucking gangster rap, fucking but then you also have the other side. You have Gangstar, you have fucking Tribe Called Quest, you have all of this different like varying hip hop styles, and like that's to me like I say it all the time, dude. I was telling Nick, I was like, I will fucking argue till my face turns blue. 90s is the best era of hip hop. I don't care who the fuck you are. You can say what you want. Like I know the 2000s, early 2000s was another kind of like golden age. Like there was a lot of good stuff, but the 90s, what it birthed. Some of these people, I mean, Eminem is in the 90s, so you know what I mean. Like
in the 90s,
he's still 99, bro, with some shady LP. So. You have, and then Jay-Z was in the 90s. You had fucking Biggie. You had Tupac.
We had
you had
two
Nas,
Jay-Z albums in the 90s. 3 Jay-Z albums in the 90s.
Yeah, it was Reasonable Doubt.
Volume
Was
One
his
and Volume
first song?
Two. No. Reasonable.
Blue.
It was Reasonable Doubt. Then
Okay.
In My Lifetime,
You're
Sharon
right.
Carter, Volume One, and
Right.
then In My
Blue.
Lifetime, Volume Two. That
Okay.
was
And
all
blue.
in the 90s.
Oh,
Blueprint
Blueprint
was
was
2004.
2001.
No,
2001.
2004. No, 2001. It came out right before September 11th.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then Blueprint 2, and then you
Yeah.
had the Black Album.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So there's just, oh man, I
The
want
90s were dope. The 90s were dope. Like,
90s are dope, dude, for sure.
I mean, Illmatic.
I mean, one of the greatest
I,
albums.
I tie specific albums to specific like story arcs. So like Illmatic is Man Without Fear, Frank Miller, Daredevil. Freaking 92 X-Men is 36 Chambers by Wu-Tang. Right?
Dude, yeah, how did I forget Wu-Tang, dude?
Yeah,
Wu-Tang.
Wu-Tang.
You know what I mean? Like,
Wu-Tang.
look what they did.
And keep in
Every
mind,
single one of those
Wu-Tang
motherfuckers.
put like after 36 Chambers, RZA put out at least 2 Wu-Tang albums a year after that for like 5 years.
Jizz's Liquid Swords.
Liquid Swords.
Tikal, a Method Man.
Tikal.
You know, ODB.
Iron Man.
Fuck,
Iron Man.
come on, bro. Raekwon the Chef.
Yeah, bro. And then like there's just so much like stuff like the 90s hip hop scene and the 90s comic scene. I felt like that was like the best time of my life.
Oh yeah, I agree, dude. And I mean, and like, you know, Ed Piskor put a lot of work into his book, and I get it. Like, you know, like to do more would take him away from doing other projects. But don't worry, dude. We'll take the baton. I think we should do this because I think that it's such an important era of hip hop, and there's so much stuff that happened there that I'm willing to do that research, and I'm willing to put fucking pen to paper and write out that fucking story with you. And I think that that would be fucking really something really dope that we could fucking collaborate on, and that I think a lot of people would dig. And
yeah, and like we could talk about all sorts of cool stuff, like friggin' Snoop Dogg's murder case, friggin' that one reverend that was on the tirade against hip hop, friggin' bulldozing hip hop CDs.
I mean, the Tupac and Biggie fucking
Tupac and Biggie, dude. I still remember where I was when I heard Tupac died. I still remember the exact thing what I was doing. That's it. But anyway.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, we'll talk about this at another day. But anyways, Hip Hop Family Tree, Ed Piskor, Fanagraphics.
You guys need to pick it up. Like if you're just a fan of music in general and a fan of comics, like this is great because it adds a substance to the music of its grassroots, you know, movement to what it is now and what it's become. I mean, granted, you can argue that it's become trash, but I could argue it's honestly become something awesome, especially because with hip hop and comic books as well. You always got to look for the good stuff.
Yeah.
You always got to look for the good stuff. It's never going to be presented to you just like that. I mean, for comics, you know, since we work at a shop, it's presented to us. But
I mean, you got to do the research.
Yeah, you got to do the research, man. You got to know who you like, what you like. You got to know your taste. And like with hip hop right now, I love it. There's so much dope shit out right now, especially with some of these new cats that like are starting to make a name for themselves underground. Dude, I'm really excited for them. Like these guys are still
shoot me those artists, because like I have been really stuck in my ways of not really listening to any of the new stuff, because like I don't listen to the radio. So
yeah.
And I just don't have the time like I did 10 years ago when I would just fucking dive in to like, I mean, whatever. I downloaded
Napster and just
I downloaded LimeWire, FrostWire, and I was just like albums. I mean, dude, I had fucking 10,000 songs on my iPod at one point, and the iPod crashed, so I lost all of it. So whatever I have is now the CDs that I've gone back and filled in, you know. But like, I used to look for underground people, Atmosphere, Deep Purple Dynamics, you know, like all those cast, Living Legends, and I just would go from there, and I'm like, oh, who's guesting on those songs? And then I'd get them, and then I would just go like that, boom, Aesop Rock, fucking, not Aesop Rocky, Aesop Rock, you know, and Typical Cats. Oh, I love Abru, dude. He's fucking dope as fuck. Bus Driver, you know what I mean?
Bus Driver. Hey, you know, Bus Driver owes my friend $20. Owes Paulo's friend $20. But we'll
That's so random. That's so random. Yeah. But anyways, I don't want to lose anybody, but go check out Hip Hop Family Tree. Do yourself a favor. If you You know, and if it's not your cup of tea and you're listening to it and you have a friend that likes comics, likes hip hop, or just likes hip hop and not comics, gift them this book because this is it's phenomenal.
It'll make a great coffee table book.
I mean, it's fucking large and in charge. A treasury size edition. You know, like the old school Marvel stuff. I love that Fantagraphics put it out in this format. It's a dope, oversized format, and you get to pour over the amazing art, the amazing words, the pinups in the back that he has by some of the greats. I mean, you got Jim Mahfood, who does the African Bavada. You got Ben Morris, Jim Rugg. Just so many dope fucking pinups, and the pinups continue as you go on. And you know, that's it. I can't say anything else. Pick the fucking book up. It is fucking dope. And
I can't wait to hear about Eric B and Rakim. Rakim is my favorite rapper ever. So
I know you love Rakim. Yeah, I love Rakim too. So yeah, well, I mean, we're gonna probably do these books. I don't know when we'll get to them, but we will continue through the rest of the series of the 3 books eventually. Again, I want to reiterate, like we did at the beginning of the episode, thank you guys for, you know, sticking with us this past year. It's been a lot of fun, and I can't wait.
And thank you, and thank you, and you. You're cool.
Yeah, so I mean, this is I can't wait to continue doing this. I mean, and we're not stopping. This is just the beginning, you know, like of many, you know, episodes to come. And while this is going to be labeled episode 52, I'm dropping the number after this one because, I mean, it's just, it doesn't coincide with the amount of content. So these are going to be changed to book club episodes. We're going to start calling them book club episodes so that it's not as confusing. I feel like labeling it episode 49, episode 51, or whatever I'm doing, it can be a little bit misleading. So, but we're still going to continue to go through graphic novels. But that way we don't necessarily need to put one out every week if we take a week off. You know what I mean? But
so for the first episode of the book club, not air quotes, but you know, I was thinking we do God Love Man Kills.
I'll find it.
Or we can do something else. But how do you feel? I haven't read it in a while.
I don't mind reading old X-Men, but I've tried reading it and it wasn't what I remember, so I try not to read it too often, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I'll read it if you want to. I'll let you pick.
We'll figure something out.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I got that I've been thinking about. I thought about maybe like The Question by Jeff Lemire and Dennis Cowan.
Actually, I just actually put this book. I just put this book on my reads. Usagi Yojimbo Saga, Volume 1, Book 1. I don't know how many pages that is, but the small. I just wanted, the smaller one, just like the Volume 1 of the Usagi Yojimbo Saga.
The old school one. I'm down.
The Stan Sakai.
Yeah, you have to tell me which issues though, because I have the slipcase of the old original stuff from Fantagraphics that they publish, and then I have also the Dark Horse, but it's like the 500-page book. So you're gonna have to just message me.
I think it's the Dark Horse one. It's like 600 pages. It's like super thick with the
That's
blue
what I'm talking
border up
about.
top. Yeah, let's do the first couple chapters. Let's do the first like 6 issues of that.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm down.
Do the first 6 issues of that because I've never read Usagi Yojimbo. Never read it. But I've heard phenomenal things. I've heard phenomenal things.
It's amazing. So yeah, we'll do that next week. Usagi Yojimbo, man, I'm down.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, everybody, thank you for fucking sticking with us, listening to us talk hip hop and comics, because we went off on a tangent on just talking hip hop. So if you're still here with us, make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Comic Lounge. Follow Dylan at The Dillbot on Instagram. And hit the bell icon so you're notified every time a new video goes up. And on that note, we're out.
Later, buds.